What's up ninjas, it's Dee here, and today I'm going to show you how to make tails for your VROID model. So I'm going to show you cat tail, fox tail, and a demon tail. And after that, I'm going to show you how to rig it in Unity. So the only way for you guys to do moving tails is to use Unity after you make it in VROIDStudios. So the reason why we need to use Unity is because when you make a tail in VROIDStudios, it thinks it's attached to your head. So when you move your head, you're going to see that tail in the back of your body moving with it, which is not right. So Unity is where we're going to take that tail from your head and move it to your hips. So obviously you don't have to do it. Your tail's just going to be moving with your head. It's suggested you do it with Unity. Totally a suggestion, totally up to you. So this will be a two-part video where the first part I'm going to show you how to make the actual tails in VROIDStudios, and the second part is how to rig in Unity. So let's begin. Go into VROIDStudios, go into the hair editor, and go ahead and start a freehand group. So the way the hair works is that from the top is kind of like your roots, if you think about it like that. So your roots for the tail has to be around the butt area. So you're just going to grab that very top one and nail it around the hips where you want the tail to start. So upper butt area. And you're just going to keep dragging. You just want to make sure that this mirror button is hit so that you can grab both sides. Go from the top and work your way upward. I like to go in like a triangle shape because usually tails are like thicker at the top, like so. So as you can see, it's now an upside down V, which is the opposite of what it would be if it was your hair. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is fine because your tail's not gonna be this long. And then you want to make sure it's flat. So let's do, actually, which tail should we make first? If we do a cat tail versus fox tail, it's going to be different. So let's just start drawing and then we'll move these later. So let's do a cat tail, grab the brush, and we're just going to draw one up. And there you go. So it's a very simple line. You'll see it right here. Because I had the mirror option, drew two, you only need one. So let's get rid of that. Okay. So you have this. It's a flat hair. It doesn't even connect to the butt. Go ahead and grab the control points to push it down to the very inside of her body, basically. Okay. Like so. And obviously, if you want to change the position of the tail, you grab the control points using select, and you can just drag it. So usually tails like to do this. You want to grab the very top one. Da-da-da. Like that. And if you want shorter, taller, you mess around with it however you want to do it. Let's say I want the tail to do this weird little swoopy pattern. Alright, so we have that. Right now it's flat. What you need to do is change on the right side. My face might be covering it. I'm gonna move here. There you go. So as you can see, this is the first presets you get when you first make this. So with obviously touches, this is the texture. Ignore that. Ignore that. So this is what you're gonna mess with. You have the width, like so. If you want a fat tail, skinny tail, you have the thickness, which affects, you know, that. And you want to get to a round shape. So as you can tell, the hair is like that. To make it round, you're basically going to push this a little further. So it kind of ends on a point like that. If you curve it like so, it looks more like a tail. Something like this would work. Yeah. You see how it's like a point? So if you want it less like a point, you just have to drag this away from the very bottom. There's like a sweet point. It's a lot of just messing around with, but it's not too hard. Whoops. Not what I wanted. So yeah. So thickness, probably thicker, probably thinner for a tail. And as you can see, there you go. Change the color so you get the shading that you want. You can also mess with shading by just touching this stuff, you know, like if you want like a highlight in the tail, if you don't. I just have as a black tail that matches the hair right now. Maybe I'm not a fan of the overall shape right now, so I'm gonna mess around with it even more. Something like that. Yeah. And if you want the tail to go to the side, grab control points. You see it, there's so many control points. If you hit the key S, it will decrease the control points, like so. And oops, you want to make sure you move it from the front version because now it's right now attached to like the back end of this cone shape something. It's weird because if you mess it from the back side thinking like, oh yeah, I see it, now I'm gonna mess around it, it like hooks itself to the front of it, so just mess around it from the front view. And I can see the tail. If you want to go this way or that way, if you want to go like this, like yeah, you know, just this there, you know, it's a tail. If you don't like the shape of it, the thickness, just mess around with it and you do whatever you want. Maybe not that. Just do whatever you want. Oops. It's the width I keep messing around with. There, see? Tail. Pretty easy. You can do a more straighter tail if you want. You could do a more curved tail. So that's a cat tail. Now we're going to do like a fox tail. So same thing. Look at your points. Use your brush. And foxtails get really big at the bottom and then thinner at the top. Same for wolf tails, whatever. Yeah, same thing. So I'm going to just connect the booty to her hip, like so. Press S to like change the control or how many control points there are. Like so. And now for this one, it's this one that you want to mess with. So it starts fat at the bottom and then thinner at the top, like so. Then you're going to change the width so it's bigger and change the thickness. So you have this right now. You want to make it even thicker, like wider for a tail. You're just going to grab this button and put in your own number. That is too much. 0.5, 0.25, 0.25 is pretty good. See, it's pretty thick. You see this cut end, you're just gonna, you can close it and then pull it into the body more. So it looks like that. And because it's so thick, you have to change the guidelines for this. So honestly, I should have made another one, but whatever. It's fine. Because now it's messing up my tail. Okay. Like so. Ignore the color. So most people want a thicker tail than this. So let's go 0.4, 0.5. You can change the width of it even. Just really depends how thick you want your tail. You can mess with the control points more if you want it to be curved or not. See, it's got that little point like so. So this is the thick end that people like to see, like that. So right now what you're seeing is no texture on the tail, which is why it's just like a flat shape. This is where more time will be used because you need to draw the fur texture, all the lines on it, and that's really just like, that is all up to you how you want to draw your tail. I personally, it takes me a while to do. But for example, say you want that weird like line thing, oops, at the top. It's all just, it's just all just messing around with this and trying to get that cutout that you want for it, and then going and coloring this versus coloring that. And yeah, we're not going to go over textures. I'm just going to show you guys how to make the tails. So foxtail, done. Next one we're going to do is a demon tail, which is usually like, people like to do spirals from what I've been asked to do. So let's show how to do that. Oh, and a cool cheat is that if you want to just make a same group with like this parameters, click the thing that you had and then hit the button freehand, and basically it duplicates what this is. Or you could just hit duplicate, or sorry, clone, and then delete these hairs, whatever. It's whatever. All right. So now that you have this, we're going to grab the brush. Again, you're going to go from the front view in order to touch the back view. And you're just going to draw like a curve, like so. This one, it's hard to move control points because it's going to be a spiral. I suggest trying to get it as close to possible instead of moving the points. It's just easier that way. So we're going to grab from the middle, and you're just going to draw a spiral, and I hit 2 by accident. I'm going to delete one. Delete. Okay. So like that. As you can see, again, not touching her body, it's leaning a bit to the side. You want it to be straighter, you go ahead and just make it straighter. Like so. For flat demon tails, I like to just push the front dots to the middle, like as far as it can go, just so it doesn't mess around with it. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really do anything, but it's just my personal opinion or preference. As you can see, there's so many dots. Go ahead and press the S button to simplify it. You gotta grab things from the front, not the back. I know it's a little annoying. Look, so there's a curve. Change the color, go ahead, you can mess around with this if you want. You can wider, thicker, you know, it's all here. You can all decide from here. The next step is doing that little like demon tail heart-shaped thing that you see a lot in artworks. So to do that, you're gonna make another brush. It's gonna be flat. So you're gonna change the cross section. You're gonna change the curve to straight. Make sure that's off. Grab the brush. This is gonna take a lot of finagling, if that's even a word, because you have to mess with the texture now. So add a texture somewhere. Okay, duplicate, grab that, go to textures, new one you just duplicated, and import whatever image you want to use for your tail. So I already have an image that I drew a long time ago, and I'm gonna use that as my guide. So as you can see, it's doing its own thing. You don't know what it's doing, it's fine. This is where you mess with texture parameters to figure out, oh, where is it? You might have to go to the 0.5s instead of the 1s, like so. Yeah, see, you can already tell where it is. The hard part here is trying to get this lining up with the tail. So that's gonna take some time. But you can see I can, if I want to make this circle, sorry, if I want to make the heart bigger, you got to increase the width of the hair itself. And then you can change, oh, ignore that. This is good. Like, this is set. You don't have to mess around with it anymore. Like, this is where you want it to be. Yeah, this is different things. Now I'm just trying to change, like, how big I want this heart. If you want it longer, you're going to grab control points, just pull it, like so. Like that. So that's one way to do it. So naturally, demon tails don't have hair texture, so I'm just going to make this black, and that should be fine. So now it's a little thick in my opinion, or a little wide in my opinion. Like that. Again, this is where it's a lot of moving the points around to try, go from the front to try and get this to sit where you want it to sit. You know? And there you go. The colors are off because I didn't match the tails. Ignore me. There you go. It's a little closer. If you don't like that, if you want the tail to go just straight, you know, don't draw the curve, but this is how you draw the curve. And as you can see, it's just flat. If you want it thicker, you can make it thicker. This is just to give you guys an idea of how this works, okay? All right. So that's a demon tail. Now this is where it gets a little hard. Now you have to go to Unity. So I'm going to do the demon tail because that's the most complicated one. What I mean by complicated is now we have to rig it in Unity. So there's a certain way you have to export this. You're going to go to Camera Exporter, go to Export. You see this material reduction, enable hair combination. You have to click that off. So that's off. And now you can export. So now that you export the avatar, it is now ready to go into Unity for you to rig the tail to the hips. Because right now it's attached to the head, which means that when you move the head, the tail's going to move, which is not how that works. So I'm going to make another video tomorrow on how to do that. If this was useful, please leave a like, please subscribe. I'll be back for more tutorials. Please, please, please comment below what more tutorials you want me to make, because I'm going to be taking some time off to just make tutorials, and I hope you guys find them useful. All right, see you later. Bye.